Broadcasting now.
Alright, so this is part 4, game number 3 against a Zerg player, xSixMystik.
Grandmaster Zerg, North
Yeah,
America.
he's on Check 6, I think that's what their team's called.
Check
Whatever.
6, I don't know. I don't know if there's
Whatever it's called. X6.
Okay, I feel you.
Alright, 5 seconds, call it.
3, 2, 1, play.
Alright, ZvZ on this map. I don't really like this map on ladder because you're not able to assume that it's cross spawn. So sometimes you can have these two close spawn positions, and they are pretty damn close, so...
You should have said, nope, not David.
I don't talk on ladder like ever.
How come?
I don't know. I just literally don't even type anything.
Is that a powerful meta? I think it is.
I have no idea.
It's the way the Koreans do it.
Alright.
So now, on MLG versions of this map, or tournament versions, you know it's cross-spawn. Does that change your build at all? Like, do you automatically go hatch first when it's cross-spawn?
Oh, definitely. Well, I will hatch first anyways, just because I like to hatch first. But it is very risky to hatch first when he's either to your left or to your right here.
Yeah. Well, it's ladder and you don't care. I mean, you just start a new game. And
Yeah.
It's not tournaments.
But in these positions, even if he opens 14-14, especially with speed, it is such a close distance that it actually can do damage. It wouldn't kill you, but it would do a lot of damage. Like if he 10-pulled me in close positions here, I don't really think you could defend it. If you 15 hatch, you'd probably die, especially if he pulled drones. It's just too close. He'll show up to your base and your pull will barely finish. It's just way too close. But the good news for me is we scouted each other first, so it kind of leaves out the possibility of shenanigans, because if he was 10 pulling me, I'd see it. Even if he was 14-14ing me here, at least I would know that he's going 14-14, so I can prepare for it. So when I see his drone count here, I'm going to be able to know that he also 15 hatched, just from the sheer count. So. Okay, so I'm looking at his base now. I know that he 15 hatched, because there's no pool. But I also know that he took this gas extremely early. So because my build is going to be a later gas, what you have to keep in mind is in ZvZ, these things do matter in the early game. So I have to keep in mind that his speed will definitely finish before my speed. So I have to be a lot more conscious of my early Zerglings, especially if he builds a higher number than mine. You just have to remember things like, do I really want to be in the middle of the map if he has more Zerglings than me? And even if you have the same number of Zerglings, do I really want to be in the middle of the map? Because I know that his speed will finish before mine, so he can either run by me, or if we have the same count, speed has the advantage to get the first hit. So he can also beat me in a fight. So that's just the first variation here between our two builds. Other than that, I just want to drone as much as I can and get away with as much as I can. So first thing I do here is I go straight to 18 of 18. That's the extra drone. Usually you stop at 17, but I know for sure he's 15 hatching, so I'm okay with that. So as you can see in the production tab, his speed is ridiculously early compared to mine. I just hit 60 gas and he already started his speed. But that's okay. At least I know it's coming. So like I said, great positions to be in if you play very reactionary, because you get to see what he's doing first, so you don't really lose to weird cheeses.
So what's your response here then? You know his speed's going to be early. If he comes at you with a bunch of links, how do you defend? Just kind of block with queens?
Well, I want to be defensive, that's all. I just don't want to fight him in the middle of the map, because that's where his speed will take into effect. If he fights me where my queens are, then putting speed a little bit earlier than me is not going to get damage very close. Okay, so I'm putting my roach horn down really early here, because I'm assuming that because he's getting such early speed, he's probably going to go into banelings. It's usually the best thing to do if you want to be aggressive. Earlier speed means you will have an advantage aggression-wise. So usually people who want to be aggressive will go banelings at this point. So I'm just using these two queens because, like I said, I'm assuming that his speed will finish before mine. So not only does it negate scouting, but if he just all of a sudden ran 20 lings from his base to mine, I would be able to just pull my drones into my base, and those two queens would be able to block them off. And you need a lot of Zerglings to kill two queens on a ramp, so at this point I'm still blind. I haven't seen anything from him yet. So I'm just going to build these defensive roaches, just in case, and I'm going to send these two Zerglings to kind of scout and see what I can see. So the first thing I see is, okay, yeah, his speed is definitely earlier. You can see how that could have been bad if I had like 6 Zerglings. I would have lost all 6. But I still don't know that he's producing either drones or a lot of Zerglings. So now I finally see it. I see a bunch of Zerglings coming. 1, 2, 3, almost 4 waves coming. So now I know that I have to just defend. With roaches against banelings and Zerglings here, you want your roaches to be in a big ball against the Zerglings, but you don't really want to clump them when his banelings hit, because banelings can do significant amounts of damage. So here's my big mistake first. I wanted to get him to a ball, but like I said, I was afraid of banelings, so I had to spread them a little bit. So I took a little bit more damage than I should have. If they were in a ball, the surface area would have been smaller. He wouldn't have been able to hit so many, but as is, I didn't lose any roaches, I just lost a lot of HP on some. So it could have gone worse, but it didn't.
Do you have to target fire banelings with your roaches, or they automatically target fire?
No, you have to target fire. So at this point, he didn't continue with this attack even though he built banelings, because he knew that my roach count was high enough that he'd be countered. So he decided to go back into his base, and that's my first mistake. I lost a lot of lings there.
Yeah, that sucked.
So at this point, all I'm going to do is try to econ while building up a force, and depending on what he builds or what he shows me that he builds, I'm going to decide what to do at this point. So at this point I'm pretty blind, but as you see, I'm just trying to keep up in drone production. So I'm just building as many drones as I can sneak in. I even got my second and third gas to try to even out my minerals with my gas deposit. And at this point, what I like to do in these positions is, because I know the person opened banelings, it's usually a little bit less economical for him to switch to roaches than it is for me to switch to roaches, because by the time I already had my first 6, 7 roaches, he had 0. So even if he went into roaches, I would always have a little bit of a roach lead. So the reason why I put this baneling nest down is it kind of evens out the playing field. He probably would have more Zerglings than I would, but banelings kind of negate Zergling numbers, especially if you get good hits. Whereas roach count is determined by who went roaches first, and because I went roaches first, my roach count should be a little bit higher than his, or a lot higher than his. In this case, it's a lot. You can look at the unit production. So as you can see, this attack basically just kind of keeps him in check. It allows him to not have produced nothing but drones in all of this time when his first attack failed. As you can see, I'm just scared he's going to do run-bys, so I'm bringing my lings back a bit, but it's not enough lings to be a threat, so it's really good for me. So I'm just building a ton of banelings at this point, and I'm just going to bust him. And if you look at the unit count, you can see that he has caught up in roaches, but because he did drone behind that, and he's ahead of me in a little bit of drones here, I have a ton of more banelings. So at this point, I'm just trying to do as much damage as I can. And as you can see, it's not an all-in. I go into layer tech at this point, and I'm not really that behind in drones. So he makes a big mistake. He shouldn't have let out like that. He should have waited until I started to fight him at his spine crawler. Those hits make a huge difference, even though our roach count is similar here. But he has been weakened so much by those banelings because we clumped them up. So this is really going to just kill him like this. And this is really bad because he has 4 drones. So even if we equalize at this point, I'm going to be way ahead going into tier 2. So this is just very fortunate for me that his rotation of drones was incorrect this game. And he teched a little bit too quickly, getting upgrades at a point where upgrades didn't really matter.
I think that's about the nicest player I've ever seen.
That's probably sarcastic.
Yeah, I think it was sarcastic.
Yeah, so that's just the ZvZ.